Welcome to Sidebar, where you vote on the internet's biggest buttholes. Am I the butthole for not giving my daughter a letter my deceased husband wrote for her before he died? In January of 2019, my husband was diagnosed with a brain tumor. It was in a completely inoperable part of the brain, and was told he had 6 months to live. He stuck it out and died in October, 3 months longer than he was expected to. He was always positive, and decided a few weeks after his diagnosis that he would write letters for our daughters for significant events in their lives. My husband was my soulmate, and the past few months have been difficult knowing I've lost him. We have 2 daughters, Maya, who is 21, and Imogen, Imi, who is 19. All 3 of us have become a lot closer since their dad's death, and we've all really struggled. My husband and I were together since we were children, got married when we were 18, and we were approaching our 20th wedding anniversary when he passed. In February of this year, Maya got married to a boy she's been with for about 6 years. I absolutely love her husband, and he's been incredibly supportive during all of our grief. My husband wrote a letter for Maya to open on her wedding day. It's worth noting that my daughters were unaware of these letters. It was my job to give them to our daughters. Her wedding day comes around and I just can't bring myself to give her the letter. I read it and just wanted to keep it to myself. I had his handwriting and his words, and it felt like he was there, and I couldn't bear the thought of giving that up yet. I was fully intending on giving her all the other letters as the events happened. Last week, Maya and her husband bought their first home together. They've been living at our home since they got married, and so had a lot of stuff to pack and move to their new house. Maya asked me where her important documents were, passport, birth certificate, etc. So I told her they were in my top drawer of my dresser in my bedroom. The only letter that was in there was the one I was meant to give her on her wedding day. The rest were hidden away. She immediately recognized his handwriting, and of course it was addressed to her. So she read it and broke down. She came and found me and started screaming at me, asking how I could be so selfish. I didn't really know what to say apart from the fact that I wanted to keep it and she could take a picture of it. Both my daughters called me a butthole and are convinced I'm keeping them from a load of their dad's stuff. Am I the butthole? Did OP act like a butthole? Here's what Reddit thinks. You are the butthole and she's right. You are selfish and a thief. That wasn't yours to keep. My dad died when I was 17. Do you have any idea how hard it is to marry a man my dad never got to meet? To walk down the aisle without him? My wedding day was supposed to be one of my best memories, and instead it was just so hard. A letter would have meant the world to me. What you did was rot, and the fact that you still haven't realized that speaks volumes. This wasn't only your loss. Do you not realize that? Am I the butthole for not wanting my kids every weekend? My ex-husband and I share custody of our 10-year-old daughter and 12-year-old son. We have a 2-2-3 schedule, which usually looks like I have the kids Friday after school, and then he gets them Monday after school. I get them back Wednesday after school, and then he gets them Friday after school, and then the week flip-flops. We've done this since our divorce 5 years ago, and it works well. I'm a nurse in the OR, so I schedule my shifts for the days during the week when they are with their dad, and my one-call weekend every 6 weeks is a weekend they are with their dad. Recently, the kids said they want to try splitting up on the weekends, so instead of both of them being with us during the weekend, one will go with dad and one will be with me. My son said he would make sure he was with me on call weekends because he can stay by himself if I have to get called in, or can hang out at the hospital until I'm done. My ex is on board with this because he says it will allow us to spend one-on-one time with the kids and will allow the kids a break from each other. They squabble occasionally and annoy one another. While they have a point, sometimes it is hard to not feel like you are disappointing one by trying to accommodate the other. I do not want to give up my free weekends. It took me a few months to get used to not having my kids all the time after the divorce, but now my weekends without them are filled with activities or travel. My ex agreed if there was a weekend trip I wanted to take, he would be fine having both the kids that weekend, but I honestly don't want to have to take his schedule into consideration when planning my trips, and sometimes they are spontaneous trips. I was talking to my family about this at breakfast this morning, and they are all kind of appalled by me not wanting to do this. My sister pointed out that if I was still married, then I wouldn't have all the child-free time I have now, and many mothers don't get a break from their kids like I do. My mom said she can't believe I deny my children quality time with their parents for selfish reasons like not wanting to give up my weekends. My SIL seemed to understand where I was coming from but said that she would still do it and just incorporate the child into whatever I was doing, and pointed out my daughter would love to go on the NYC shopping trip I had planned for December, and my son would happily join me for my Saturday morning spin classes. I considered that, but my SIL loves taking her kids everywhere, so I don't know that she is aware of how nice it is to just be an adult without the responsibility of a child wherever you go. They were really making me feel like a butthole though. Am I the butthole? Is OP a butthole? Here is what Reddit thinks. You are the butthole. I know it feels great to have your time alone, but you decided to have your kids and they need to feel loved by you. It is sad that you prefer to do things on your own and not of obligations. Not gonna lie, it would make me really sad if my mom told me this. You just have to make do with the time that you do have and take into consideration your ex's schedule when planning stuff. Am I the butthole for suing my girlfriend after she had my 1967 Impala project taken to the scrapyard? I'll try to keep this short. I had a 1967 Impala 4-door that I bought in Feb 2019. A couple months ago I bought my first house that had a 5-car garage. I moved the car in and started tearing it down for complete restoration. I had the body in one bay and the chassis in another, plus the whole garage filled with parts. About 2 months ago my girlfriend came to live with me during this whole crisis and the whole time has hated that car. She wants to park in the garage, but I have 2 acres of land with a lot of nice places to park under shady trees, or heck even in the barn if it has to be inside. I tell her tough luck, it's my house and it's not like I can just throw it back together real quick. Anyways, I was out of town for a couple days on a business trip for the small local company I work for. When I got back, my girlfriend was all smiles, making me food all the time, doing all the chores, all that. I thought maybe she just was happy to have me home, but then I realized that I didn't see her car in its usual spot. I asked her where she parked so I could make sure I mow that area and keep it clean, and she said not to worry because she parked in the garage. I asked how and she told me to go check it out. Turns out that while I was gone, she hired some people to come over and move everything related to that car, including the drivetrain, body, and chassis and all parts, and take it to the local dump/scrapyard. I was absolutely dumbfounded. I had spent over $11,000 on that car, including new parts, services, and the car itself. I told her that I was going to be taking her to court for that and she brushed me off like I was being dramatic. I told her that it's done between us and to pack her things and leave. I admit I was really angry, but I did end up getting a lawyer. And as I have all the receipts for all that money spent and I have her on my house's security cam footage letting the guys in it watching them take it all, I think I can win. Her family and friends are absolutely blowing me up, saying it's just a stupid old piece of junk, and that she cannot pay back all that money I spent, and that I should just let it go. But I have been putting all my time, effort, and money into that car for 1.5 years now, and God admit if I am not going to get justice for what she did. Am I the butthole? Is the poster a butthole or not? Reddit says this. Not the butthole, sue her butt. Sue her for the cost plus a few extra thousand for the time and money. Have her prosecuted for theft, destruction of private property, and have the guys that came to get it prosecuted for receiving stolen goods. Nail them all to the wall. Am I the butthole for switching to regular milk to prove my lactose-intolerant roommate keeps stealing from me? Me and 2 other guys share an apartment together. We split all the bills. The only thing we don't split costs on is groceries. Everyone's in charge of buying their own food, and we don't touch whatever doesn't belong to us in the fridge. We put our names on everything so no one gets mixed up. This issue has been going on almost a year, and I'm sick of it. One of my roommates, R, keeps stealing my food. I get home from work and containers with my leftovers are sometimes missing. They have my name written on it, or my stuff finishes too quick. My gallon of milk, for example. I buy almond milk because I like the taste, but it seems to finish after a week even though I've only drank once or twice. I confronted her about this lots of times and that's caused a lot of arguments. He outright denies it and tells me I'm crazy even though it's so obvious. My other roommate and I carpool together because we both work the same early morning shifts around the same area, so I know it's not him. It's always after we get back home and ours already left for work that I notice my food's gone. My roommates also had a similar problem but not as often as I do. I'm guessing cause R doesn't like what he buys. The funny thing is R buys a lot for himself and is even more stingy about his food. He will literally point out what's his when he comes back from grocery shopping and tells us not to touch it. Last week, my milk was nearly empty again and I got fed up. I went to the liquor store and bought regular dairy milk. I drank what was left of my almond milk and refilled the gallon with the one I bought. This was to catch/prove R is the one stealing since he's lactose intolerant. The next day, Saturday, we get back from work in RSP. He yelled at me that he was stuck in the bathroom for 40 minutes with diarrhea because of my milk. He was using it to make a shake. I only responded with, "So then you're the one who's been stealing." He freaking exploded. Yeah, he admitted he was sometimes drinking my milk and eating my food, but he was more mad that I switched milks than the fact that he was caught. I told him I wouldn't have done that if he just stopped taking my stuff from the fridge or at least told the truth instead of trying to make it seem like I was making it up. My roommate backed me up and thought it was kind of funny he got payback for stealing from us. It's a little tense RN, and my roommate told me R is trying to convince him to agree to kick me out. Little does he know we're both looking to move somewhere else together cause we are sick of his crap. I told some buddies what happened, and if you think I was a butthole for that, I feel like I'm not in the wrong here. He was taking my food and not even owning up to it, and I wanted to prove it. Does that make me the butthole? Is the poster a butthole or not? Reddit says, not the butthole. As you said, if I was stealing your food, he wouldn't have had a problem. Finally, here's our headline story of the day. Am I the butthole for telling my sister Reddit's favorite play stupid games and win stupid prizes? My 24 sister, 27th, is the golden child. She always gets her way at anything she wants if her parents can give it to her. Clothes, college, car, phone, anything she asks for. And it doesn't matter if something is left for us or not. This turned my sister into a total raging bee whom everyone hates. And when I say everyone is everyone, she already has 3 divorces at 27. She doesn't have any friends. Our cousins or uncles would rather not come if she's here. And well, she hates us too. But me especially, since I'm the only other daughter that my parents have. They don't love me as much like her. It's pretty obvious. But my brothers do, and she despises me for that. One of the things that drive her crazy more than anything, it's our career. We are both architects. I studied it because I've always been interested in it, and she did it to spite me. She tried to force me to get into another one because she wanted to be the only architect in the family. I put my foot down and said that she was no one to force anything, and that I was going to study any crap that I wanted. Needless to say, my parents stopped talking to me for a whole month, and my older brother paid for my first year since they retained my college fund. Even when she went into a much better college, I got my info sent to an important architectural office by one of my teachers. They contacted me and set an interview. I knew I shouldn't have said anything, but I was so proud that I called my parents to let them know. They acted happy for me, smooched all the info, and when I was done, they told me to let my sister go instead of me, and that I could get something else. I said obviously no, and they tried to guilt trip me by saying that I already stole her career and that I couldn't do the same with her job. I just snorted and hanged up. I thought that they would drop it, but when I presented to my interview, they told me that my name had already come, broke some expensive crap, and threatened to sue them for sexual harassment while they dragged her to the exit. I was confused because I didn't do any of that and showed them my ID, my papers, and the recommendation letter from my teacher. It turned out that my sister was the one who came to the interview, and when they didn't let her pass because my appointment was later, she went back crap crazy and ran when they were calling the police. I was so ashamed and enraged that I gave them her whole info, and they sent a police officer to our house to get her arrested for property damage and fraud. My parents obviously helped her out, and when she got out of jail, my parents demanded an apology. I just said play stupid games and win stupid prizes. My parents kicked me out because I got her arrested and made fun of her. I moved with my brother and got the job. My parents don't talk to me anymore. Maybe I was the butthole after all? I miss them a lot and I caused them trouble. Is the poster a butthole or not? Reddit says this. Not the butthole. I would cut everyone but your brothers out. What a fucking nightmare. Now it's your time to vote on the buttholeness of the headline story. Is the poster a butthole? Let us hear your thoughts. Go to the pinned comment under this video. Please hit the thumbs up on the reply of YDA. You are the butthole if you think the OP could have been nicer. Or press thumbs up on the reply saying NTA. Not the butthole if you are on the same side as OP. Feel free to leave your opinion and reason why you voted for the option you did in the comments section. And join the discussion. For more buttholes, subscribe to Sidebar.